What's up, Yuma? I'm Johnny Porter.
And I'm Victor Calderon. On today's program, we have Scott Gross. He's the Sports Information Director here at Arizona Western College. We're going to talk about Yuma's national champion. And we'll also have Christian Magana. He's the Public Information Officer for the City of Yuma. So we'll talk about an event that's coming up soon.
So stay with us for What's Up Yuma Radio, beginning right now on KOFA 94.7 FM.
And streaming online at borderradioaz.org and on the KOFA app. You can also view our show on the Border Radio Facebook page and the KAWC YouTube page. And don't forget, you can reach out to us by email at whatsupyumaradio@gmail.com.
What's Up Yuma is sponsored by High Tanks Brewing Company, serving up scratch-made food, craft beers, and experiences at 2 desert locations in Welton. More at hightanks.com.
Chili from Philly. Nick Papa Giorgio from Yuma.
Johnny Show! What's up, Yuma?
What's up, Yuma? You're listening to another episode of What's Up Yuma Radio. I'm Victor Calderon. On today's program, we have Scott Gross. He is the Sports Information Director here at Arizona Western College. Scott, thank you for being here this morning.
You're welcome. Kind of a late addition. It was supposed to be Kyle Isaacs, the head coach of the men's basketball team, but he had jury duty today, so they brought me out of the bullpen.
Okay, well, glad to have you here, and I am flying solo today, but this is not my first rodeo, so I think we'll be fine, thanks to our team as well behind the scenes. But so today we're going to talk about something that I've been mentioning since the NCAA tournament began, March Madness, that we had a local connection to the tournament. Mm-hmm. And that is that it's not every day that someone from AWC makes it on the national stage. And so something I've been mentioning is, that Yaxel Lendeborg is the player's name. He went here to Arizona Western College from 2021 to 2023, played basketball here. And then, so he's from New Jersey, and he was recruited here to AWC. And this was coming out of COVID. And so it was, sports we were getting back into live sports or sports with small crowds and then more people, but Yaxel Lendeborg, and that is his real name.
That is his real name.
That is his real name. If I were making up a name, it would not be Yaxel Lendeborg. But anyway, it's a memorable name. And anyway, so he on Monday, Yaxel. So he went from here to he went to AWC, and then he went to Alabama Birmingham.
That's correct.
And then after that, he went to Michigan. And so on Monday, Michigan beat Connecticut for the national championship. So in other words, you could say Yuma has a national champion. But so I wanted to speak to you, Scott, because you are the Sports Information Director, but people know you used to work at KYMA in the sports department. Mm-hmm. So I understand you covered Yaxel when he was here.
I did in his first couple of years, and it's a real crazy story of how he got here and how he got to where he is today. He was not recruited.
Okay.
So Yaxel in high school lacked the grades to play on the high school basketball team, but he had friends that were on the team. So he was ineligible in his freshman year of high school, sophomore year, junior year, and half of his senior year. He was not able to practice with the team, but he would hang out and play with his friends in the park or gymnasiums. So he had the IQ and he had the ability. It's not like he was just given a basketball one day and had to learn. Mm-hmm. He just didn't have the grades. His senior year of high school, he was eligible for the second half, so he played only 10 high school games and 1 playoff game. So 11 total games in high school is what Yaxel played. He had no recruits. He had no offers. He didn't even think that basketball was something that he was going to do. Mm-hmm. He thought he would just stay home and get into trouble is what he was known for. But it was his mom that was contacted by Charles Harrell. He was the head coach before Kyle Isaacs here.
Okay.
Somebody had reached out, another coach had reached out to Charles and said, hey, we've got a kid for you. Would you take a look at him? Well, as you mentioned, Victor, it was during COVID. Mm-hmm. It was hard to recruit. It was hard to fill a roster. Arizona Western at the time had an opening. They needed a big fella, a post player, and they decided to take a shot on Yaxel.
Yeah.
But they weren't recruiting Yaxel. They were talking to Yaxel's mother. Yaxel did not come here willingly.
Okay.
His mother made him come to Arizona.
Yeah.
Mom knows best, right?
A little bit, yeah. So you're saying that, it reminds me of, I don't know if you saw the movie Air about Michael Jordan signing with Nike when he signed his shoe contract with Nike. Did you see that movie?
I've not seen it yet.
So it's the same story where Nike recruited, the guy that was working for Nike recruited the mom and like got her to like convince Michael Jordan to sign with Nike, and the rest is history.
I think I did see that. That is familiar.
Yeah,
I've
so
seen
like
so
you're-
many movies.
Yeah, so like you're saying, mother knows best, right? In some situations, and so yeah, I think as was heard on the CBS broadcast, his mom has been an important deciding figure in his life. To play basketball, to give Arizona Western College a shot because he's from New Jersey, as I think I mentioned, and so obviously
Arizona's a long ways away from New Jersey.
a little bit,
especially
yes,
Yuma.
yeah, and you would think like maybe he would have signed with a community college, back east or like in New Jersey or New York area, somewhere out there.
No one was looking at him.
But yeah, so so the coach then, it wasn't Kyle Isaacs, but the coach before kind of found like a diamond in the rough, you would say. Like,
The mother.
from what we know now, yeah,
It was the mother.
Okay.
And she said to Yaxel, "You're going." He didn't want to go. She says, "You're going. You're getting on that plane, and you're going to go." And even as his first year in Arizona, he didn't like it. He wanted to go back home, and she said, "Nope, you're going to stick it out, and you're going to be there."
yeah,
So he played in his first year. I believe it was the spring of 2021.
okay,
Arizona Western went 11-3, and the coaches saw something budding. There was some talent with Yaxel. That first year, which would have been his freshman year, was wiped out. It didn't count because of COVID. So then that fall season was his true freshman year. Then he had his sophomore year, and he really started to blossom. He was the ACC AC, that's the conference Arizona Western plays in. He was the Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay.
Also named Player of the Year, and also was an NJCAA All-American. From Arizona Western, he also played in an all-star game in Las Vegas and was the all-star MVP.
okay,
As the story goes, while he was at Arizona Western in his sophomore season, he was getting looks. U of A, the University of Arizona, was taking a look at him. He had an offer from Houston, but Houston had an offer in the preseason, and they wanted him to make a decision right then. He didn't want to pull the trigger yet, so Houston pulled their
Pull back,
offer
yeah,
off the
okay.
table. So after a while, he got an offer of St. John's. St. John's lost their head coach or fired their head coach. Rick Pitino came in. So then the coaching staff in Arizona Western and Yaxel felt that probably wouldn't be a very good fit for him. So he landed at UAB.
Alabama Bruin.
He went with one of his best friends, Marquise Hargrove.
Okay.
So those two players from Arizona Western went to UAB.
Right.
He played 2 years there.
Right.
Was that conference player of the year, and he was already being talked about maybe being a late draft pick in the first round, something like that, because of his ability. But then there was a settlement. Diego Pavia, who played for
Football. Yeah.
NIMI, New Mexico Military Institute,
Okay.
before he went to Vanderbilt.
Right.
So he sued the NCAA because of NIL. And you can look up that story
Right.
of Diego Pavia.
Sure.
But it granted another year.
Okay.
So Yaxel had his first year wiped because of COVID.
Right.
And now because of the NCAA lawsuit, he and a lot of other athletes were granted an additional year.
Right.
So Yaxel got to play another year, and he was recruited by Michigan, and that's how he landed on
Okay.
Michigan.
Right.
And now he is a legend in Arizona Western history.
Yeah.
He became the first ever Matador to play in a Final Four game, then the first Matador to ever appear in a championship game,
Okay.
and now is the first and only Matador to win an NCAA national
Yeah,
championship.
that's great. So I want to go back to when he was here, and I know because KYMA interviews, follows the sports teams here at AWC and interviews players. So when I know you, with your background, you've interviewed a lot of college athletes as well over the years. When you saw him, did you think hey, this guy could be something special?
Yeah, we could tell he could be. I mean, they had a really good team. I mean, we mentioned Marquise Hargrove was on that team. You had Evan Butts on that team. Marmalejos. There was just a talent-rich team, but it was Yaxel that kind of stood out. He wasn't super quick or at a quick first step or anything, but he has big hands.
Right.
So he can a 7'3" wingspan. He was grabbing the ball wherever he could in a rebound. Also, he was a very good ball handler. So I was just talking with Carter Rowe, who's the assistant men's basketball coach, yesterday about Yaxel.
Okay.
And he told me that, so Yaxel, they brought him in to be a big man, a post player,
Right.
to play a center. He didn't really want to play center, but he did it for the team. He stands 6'7", 6'8". So Yaxel, in one of the practices, was watching some of the guards doing drills, and he was kind of having a fit, you know, that he wanted to be a part of it. And Carter said, "Do you want to try these drills?" And he said, "Yes." And Carter said that once he started doing the drills with the guards, that he was almost better at ball handling than the guards.
Okay. So it just goes to show you, like, you never know who's going to come through Arizona Western College. You know, now we have, you know, a guy who went to Michigan, won a national championship, and now he's possibly in line to get drafted and maybe even within the lottery.
Yeah, he could be a lottery pick or
Yeah.
just outside of it. I mean, it's going to be incredible to watch. And even talking with the coaches, Kyle Isaacs and Carter Rowe, it's just to watch him on television. Like, his face is everywhere. His name is everywhere. And even in that national championship game, if you were watching it with about 4 minutes left in regulation, they actually mentioned Arizona Western College.
I did catch that. It caught my attention when the announcer said that. He said, you know, he was talking about his journey from like New Jersey to Arizona Western College, and I said, that I know that place.
Yeah.
And then he mentioned that he went to UAB, and also how and we followed that. Even though, you know, UAB is not a major program, it's not one of, you know, the Power 5 conferences it's not in that one of those Power 5 conferences. He still made the NCAA tournament, so he and the others on that team, you know, pushed the team to win their conference, I think, and then make it to the NCAA tournament where they may have won a game. I don't remember.
I believe they
exactly.
played San Diego State one year.
Yeah.
And San Diego State defeated them on their way to the national championship game.
Yeah. But at any point, you know, the point is that, you know, he took what you call like a mid-major program or a smaller school. He took them to the NCAA tournament, which is, you know, no small feat. So very, you know, very cool that, you know, he had that story. Do, you know, you or anyone on the staff, you know, still keep in touch with Yaxel? I know he's probably busy, you know, dealing with endorsements and NIL, as we know, national name, image, and likeness, where players can sign national or local deals with businesses to endorse them, basically. Now it's, you know, official, they can do that. But do you or anyone here at AWC, like, still keep in touch with him, at least through, like, text or social media? Like, hey, congratulations.
Whenever we put a post on Yaxel, he'll like it on social media, so he is not ignoring us. Let's put it that way. But but you know, he's been gone for you know 3 years now, 4 years. So, but I did speak out with reached out to Cole Johnson, who was the sports director at News 11 when I was there as well, and he did some pretty in-depth things with Yaxel. So he gave some quotes that you can read on our website at awcmatadors.com. We've got 2 or 3 or maybe 4 stories on Yaxel now. Just kind of his journey and what the coaches think about him, and watching him right now, it's still pretty surreal is the word that gets passed around a lot of turning on your TV, watching March Madness and seeing a player that walked through the halls and played in our gymnasium now splashed all over. And we're about to see him, as you mentioned, coming up in the NBA draft. So that's huge. Yeah,
and we were talking off air before about how in Monday's national championship game, he was limited. Yaxel Lindeborg was limited in his action because in the game against Arizona, where Michigan beat Arizona, and that made a lot of people here in Yuma sad that follow the Wildcats, of course. But at any rate, so Yaxel was going up for a shot, and he landed awkwardly. So that limited him that game. He was in and out of that game. And I caught that in the post-game interview. He said that he was going to be on the court no matter what. Like, even if he had to, like, be limping, you know, all the game, which he kind of was limited. He still finished with, I think, like 13 points in the game. So that, you know, but he still impacted the game. Like, he was still passing, you know, to his teammates. The other team, UConn, had to, like, account for him on the court, like where he was going to be, because he still made a couple like 3-point shots that, you know, you're like, okay, well, he's doing that, you know, with maybe one good foot. You know, that was pretty cool to see that, you know, he still impacted the game, and so hopefully that will be taken, you know, note of when teams are looking to draft him I think in like June or July when the draft comes up.
Well, speaking with head coach Kyle Isaacs, he said that's the kind of player that Yaxel is. So, yeah, he rolled his ankle and sprained his knee, but he was still able to play. But even here at Arizona Western, he would fight through injuries and still play. Most notably, they were playing a game versus Mesa Community College, and they were getting smoked early in the first half, and Yaxel was battling through a migraine and battled through that, led the team back, and they came all the way back and won. But it just shows the toughness that he has. So he's not going to sit out. He's not going to complain about a small injury or a big injury. No matter what he can do, he's going to be in the game. And you even saw in the Final Four game, he left versus the University of Arizona and then came back in the second half, early in the second half, made a couple three-pointers, and then sat down as Michigan had their way with the University of Arizona. So it was scary to see him walking into the locker room. He had the towel over his head. He had the limp. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Is this where the journey ends?
Right.
Is this where the legend of Yaxel Lindenborg comes to a conclusion? But he willed himself back.
Yeah.
And just like he did here on the campus of Arizona Western, willed his team to a win.
Yeah. So as you said, it's been like 3 years since he's been here on campus. But I was thinking, has there been any discussion maybe to put out an invitation, to have him come? Maybe obviously, a lot could happen, and we'll see what happens in the draft, what team he ends up with. But maybe inviting him when he's like in Phoenix playing the Suns, or to invite him, bring him to campus, maybe even to the point of like retire the jersey number, or even Arizona Western College Hall of Fame, something like that. Have there been discussions?
No discussions yet, but those are really good ideas.
Yeah.
Imagine if he was drafted by the Suns, then possibly
that would be
there could
cool.
be
Yeah,
something, right?
Yeah, that would be something if he. I think the Suns are like in the middle of the pack, or like they're fighting for like the play-in spot right now. So yeah, if they were to be picking like in the middle to late first round,
I think the Suns are in the play-in. I think they're
Okay.
number 7 right now.
Yeah.
I don't think they can catch Minnesota.
okay. And you're from Minnesota, right?
Right.
So is that one of your teams?
The Timberwolves are safe, right?
Okay. So we're going to take a break right now, but when we come back on the other half, we'll talk, maybe wrap up about with Yaxel Lindenborg, and then we'll talk about other AWC sports and maybe a little bit about your background in sports.
Let's do it.
All right. So we'll come back on What's Up Yuma Radio.
Donations come in many forms: a sustaining monthly contribution, a one-time gift, even that extra vehicle you no longer need. Learn more about the advantages of donating a vehicle. You'll help power public radio. Visit kawc.org/cars for more information and to start your donation today. And thanks.
You are tuned to 94.7 FM KOFA Border Radio. Another sunny day in Yuma with an afternoon high of 98 degrees. Winds out of the south at 5 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight with a low around 62 degrees. Elevate Southwest is presenting a 2-hour workshop for local business owners to build a custom GPT and learn how to leverage AI in their business practices. Also, Gadsden Elementary School District 32 will be giving away 300 Chromebook laptops to 7th graders in San Luis this evening. Details about the Yuma AZ Tech Week activities can be found online at kawc.org.
K-pop fans, did one thing lead to another for you with K-pop? Did it begin with BTS, which led to K-dramas, which led to Korean barbecue? Join me this week for the OST show on K-pop for Border to hear the original soundtracks composed for K-dramas like Queen of Tears, Crash Landing Into You, My Demon, and more. Escape with me into K-drama land. K-pop for Border airs on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on Kofa Radio, or go to KWC's app or website. Follow K-pop for Border on Facebook or Instagram.
Why is music an important part of your life? For many of us, music lets us see the world from someone else's perspective. We can find community in hearing someone else's joy, sorrow, or hope expressed in song or melody. KOFA Border Radio is your local, non-commercial source for great music.
What's up, Yuma? What's up, Yuma? You're listening to What's Up Yuma Radio. I'm Victor Calderon. I'm here with Scott Gross, the Sports Information Director here at Arizona Western College. And we've been talking about Yaxel Lindenborg, who, as we have said, and Alexander's probably tired of me talking about this, but again, it's not every day that you have someone who went to AWC make it on the national stage. And so it just goes to show, as we had Coach Kyle Isaacs here on before, and we were talking a little bit about Yaxel because the tournament was about to start. And he said one thing is that I think there's a saying that the team has that from here you can go anywhere.
Right.
And so that doesn't just apply for obviously student athletes, but also for our first gen students that are here on campus. And so a lot of them go on to do great things and, go on to four-year colleges, either here in Yuma or, in-state for the most part. But yeah, so let's talk about AWC sports. So, but before we get into that, let's remind our listeners about yourself, because you have a background. As I mentioned, you were at KYMA. You were the sports director.
Sports director. I was the news anchor, assistant news director, producer, reporter.
And so I know with that, it's impressive because you have a team of dedicated reporters and yourself when you were there, who you have to cover high school sports, you have to cover AWC. I was a little jealous when you got to cover bigger events like the Final Four or Super Bowl when they were up in Phoenix. But yeah, so just talk about your time there and sort of because before that, as I mentioned briefly in the last segment, you had a background in like college sports or like sports radio even.
Yeah, all the above.
Yeah.
So graduated from St. Cloud State University in 2014. From 2012 to 2014 was the radio play-by-play announcer for their men's and women's soccer or hockey teams. They're D1.
Yeah.
So that was fun. Also football, baseball, softball, they're all D2 sports. So was doing that. Was the sports director of the college radio station. Then got into television after that. Started in Rapid City, South Dakota. Went to Anchorage, Alaska, and then came down to Yuma. And really, really proud of what we were able to accomplish at KYMA and News 11 and 13 on your side of just expanding the sports. Like it used to be just high school and local is what we would do. But I would venture out, and it's a labor of love, right, to make those trips to San Diego or to Phoenix and to go to those events and tell our news director or GM why it's important and why we should go. And I really felt that Yuma and the TV station was really a diamond in the desert, is what I call it. And that's the line I would use when we're recruiting talent to come down here, because there is so much. Not only the sports, like you have Phoenix and San Diego and Las Vegas are so close, but even being by the border and the farmland and everything that you would want to do as a reporter, there's so much to cover down here.
And I know, so part of that was covering high school sports, and you and your team would also go, like if San Luis, like for example, San Luis boys soccer, they made the playoffs, and they typically make the playoffs every year because they're a good program. But like when they would have to go play a playoff game in Phoenix, and you would send a reporter and maybe a photographer to that. And so that's, as you said, that's something that we couldn't do here at KAWC because we don't have the, manpower or woman power, but yeah, so certainly following that, and that's just following those teams and showing that those high school sports that they matter, and because they do have a following. And so what did you, because you've worked a lot mostly with college sports and now you're in college sports, what do you enjoy about college sports and working in that area?
I enjoy the athletes, the student athletes, and getting to know them. I also enjoy building our program. So that was one thing that was mentioned to me before I was hired, is they wanted to include more of our own student athletes. So maybe you have some student athletes here on campus that can't make the team.
Sure.
But we can get you involved in another way. So we have a young man from Kofa High School who's now here at Arizona Western, Seth Hartley. He's learning to do play-by-play, and he's doing a fantastic job, so we brought him in. We had Alyssa Rosales, a student, was our sideline reporter for basketball games, and she's a pioneer in doing that. We have one of your very own here, Sophia Puga.
Okay.
She's writing a weekly article called Meet the Matadors, and that's keeping these teams that are quiet right now, like men's and women's soccer, volleyball, but getting those pages and more people to get those teams relevant, to have all these teams going year round rather than forgetting about them when their season ends. And
you mentioned Meet the Matadors. We had one of the soccer players on here, Ariana Peraza, I believe is her name.
Yep, she's from El Centro.
Yeah, and so I like that because what we try to do here is we try to get to know the people behind the news, right? And so that's why the first segment we always get to know we'll talk about what you do now or what program or what event you're promoting, but we want to know, where are you from? Are you from Yuma? If not, like, how did you get here? That kind of thing, because we all have those stories. And I think it's more interesting when you get to know a person and you find you have things in common, like, okay, well, I'm also from, that area, or, you find like common connections that we all have, even though, some of us are from here, from Yuma County, and some of us, like me, I'm from Northern California. I married into Yuma County, as I say. But yeah, so I like that. And so, but you found that Arizona Western College, as we've talked before, does a good job of recruiting, not just within the region, but also nationally and internationally. So what have you found about like that draws, these student athletes to Yuma? Because everyone has a story, right? Like Yaxel, like, his mom
made him come.
His mom made him come here, and then now he's, national champion in men's college basketball. But everyone has a story. So what have you come to learn about how, there's all the student athletes, that are from, around the world, how they all come to Yuma and contribute to the college environment here?
It's because Arizona Western is a junior college powerhouse. When you think about it, the women's soccer program under Victor Verdugo has been phenomenal. They're ranked number 2 in the country, back-to-back national championship games, lost both, albeit the first one in overtime, the second one in penalty kick. So the men's soccer team, number 6 in the country. Baseball is ranked in the top 20. Softball was ranked. Men's basketball was conference champions outright for the first time in 17 years. Women's basketball under Chelsea Dewey, back-to-back national tournament appearances. So we're just a bunch of winners.
Yeah.
That's why. So foreign players see that, and so you have a foreign player here, and he has friends or family back home and tells about the program. And that's why another thing that I enjoy about Arizona Western is the diversity, is the different backgrounds. People are, I can't imagine some of these students that come from another country to leave their family, to leave everything behind, not knowing the language. The women's basketball team, you've got a roster of 12 from 8 different countries that all speak a different language.
Right.
And some of them still don't speak English.
Right.
But they can speak basketball.
Exactly. That's the universal language. So when we had Coach Dewey on right before they went to the national tournament, we were talking about how, you could be, I think one of her best players is from the country of Mali.
Mably Doumbia.
Yeah. And so it just goes to show that, yes, sports is a universal language. And so if you can connect the students through sports and get them on the court or get them on the field, that's where they connect and that's where they make connections. And then, from here, they can go to a 4-year program or they can go, to, I know there was a soccer player recently drafted by MLS, I believe, from here. That was like a year or two ago.
I think Michael Appia.
Yeah. So it just goes to show that, from Arizona Western, you can do anything, whether you're in sports, academics, nursing. We have great programs here. We have students here in the building who work in the radio and TV production. So they're learning as we go. And one of them actually, we had on Joaquin Height.
He's now at the News
He's
11.
now at KYMA.
Yep.
And he worked with us here at Border Radio, and he worked I believe, on the TV side as well, AWC TV. So that goes to show that, he apprenticed here, if you will, and now he's at KYMA, and he's part of that team and contributing in that, field.
Anything's possible.
Anything is possible. Well, before we go, let our listeners know how they can get more information on AWC Matadors Athletics, website, social media, any thing you want to promote?
Yeah, awcmatadors.com, and that's the same handle that we have on Instagram, Twitter, so just look for us again, awcmatadors.com. And if you're interested in being on our mailing list to get all of those, you can shoot me an email as well, scott.gross@azwestern.edu.
And I want to thank you. So we've had coaches and student athletes on this program, and we'll continue to have them, and our door's always open.
Thank you very much.
So send them our way, and we'll bring them on, and we'll talk sports, because that's something I like to do, because I had to teach Johnny about, Johnny only follows, Phoenix Suns basketball. And so, even college sports, he didn't know. So, I had to, tell him what a bracket was. And, I tried to get him to fill out a bracket. I don't think he did, but we'll get him maybe next year. But, so, again, thank you, Scott Gross. Thank you for being here. And thank you. And, so follow the Matadors and check them out. And as we were mentioning, we are right now currently in softball and baseball seasons.
Baseball, yep.
So go to the website, find out when those games are, come out and support your local college sports. And with that, we're going to take another break. But when we come back, we'll have Christian Magana. He's the Public Information Officer for the City of Yuma. You're listening to What's Up Yuma Radio on COFA Border Radio.
What's Up Yuma is sponsored by the 2 Welton locations of High Tanks Brewing Company, its craft brewery and tap room, featuring scratch-made food and handcrafted beers, including Daphne's Date Ale and the Gila Hazy IPA. Also, live music and experiences such as farm tours and glamping are available. More at hightanks.com.
From KAWC, this is Siendo Primero. I'm Sajei Bárcenas.
And I'm Melanie Ruiz Lopez. In this episode, we'll be talking about AI, artificial intelligence.
I use AI all the time to help me with difficult questions, coming up with study prompt.
There's a lot of questions that I had, and I was able to use AI for it.
I do let students in that class use it to translate.
A new energy with the same mission.
To give students a voice.
For KAWC News in San Luis, I'm Victor Calderon. Yuma council members and city staff met in San Luis on Monday and Tuesday to discuss city matters at a retreat. Yuma Mayor Doug Nichols and council members toured the San Luis port of entry. They also discussed topics including Yuma's strategic plan that runs through 2030, economic development, and public safety. They also briefly discussed data centers, which some Yuma residents and council members have spoken out against. Nichols put out a statement earlier that there are no current proposals before the city.
We've just started this discussion, so we're going to take our time and we're going to get it all vetted. I met with some constituents this morning who were very adamant against it. So I listened to what they had to say, and I suggested a couple other points of view for consideration, but I made it clear to them their opinion needs to be part of the discussion as well as people who are pro data centers.
For KAWC News in San Luis, I'm Victor Calderon.
The Fort Yuma Rotary Club hosts Pars Under the Stars, a nighttime golf tournament, April 11th, starting at 4 p.m. at the Desert Hills Par 3 course. Teams will compete from sunset through early evening using glow-in-the-dark gear. Registration includes golf, dinner, and gear. Details at fortyumarotary.org/events.
I'm Public Radio Runner. Join me for Bonus Smiles, the show sharing the stories and playlists that fuel runners. Why? Because the rando cheering you on at a mile 77 aid station is the same kind of person who supports local public radio. Join us every Saturday at 5 a.m. on KOFA at 94.7 FM for stories that soothe and jams that power long runs.
Exactly how does Border Radio bring you some of the most incredible music on the planet? Listener support. Donations from people who care. Your support is an investment in the powerful idea that handcrafted songs from yesterday and today should be accessible, relevant, and always playing for everyone. Visit borderradioaz.org to support the music, and thanks.
If you're tired of listening to long commercials before finally hearing music, look no further. We've got you covered. Whether you're searching on your radio, trying to find an app to play some tunes, or need background music playing on your computer while finishing up some work, KOFA Border Radio is your non-commercial place for music.
What's up, Yuma? You're listening to What's Up Yuma Radio. I'm Victor Calderon. And our next guests this morning are Christian Magana. He's the Public Information Officer for the City of Yuma, and Ana Solorzano, Marketing Specialist. Thank you both for being here this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so as I was saying, we always like to get to know our guests. And so before we talk about, and because there's a big event coming up for City of Yuma and other City of Yuma news and events, we want to get to know about you. So Anna, let's start with you. So tell our listeners, I understand you have a background in like TV and graphic design, but are you originally from Yuma?
I was raised in Yuma.
Okay. So where are you from originally?
I was actually born in Honduras,
Okay.
Honduras.
Uh-huh.
I've been raised in Yuma since I was like 2.
So how old were you when you came to Yuma?
2.
2.
Yeah.
And so how did your family get to Yuma of all places from Honduras?
Oh, so my mom married my dad.
Okay.
And he was in the Navy, so that's how we came to be in Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, so you grew up in Yuma area, you said?
I did. Mhm.
What school did you go to?
I went to KOFA.
Okay, Kofa Kings.
Kofa
Go
Kings.
Kings. Yeah. So how did you get into, as I talked about TV and graphic design? How'd you get into that?
Well, my degree is in media arts, so I started originally working under the TV stations here in town, and that evolved into working for the newspaper. That's really where I got my graphic design experience.
Yeah.
And then from there, it kind of evolved. Once I moved to the base, I was working at the Marine base for about 12 years.
Yeah, MCAS Yuma.
MCAS Yuma,
Yeah.
and worked as a graphic designer, worked my way up all the way to marketing director, and worked at the casino for a little bit before coming to the city.
Which casino?
Quitsan.
Quitsan. Okay. And so how did you come to work for the city of Yuma?
I saw that they were hiring for a marketing specialist, and I thought that was a really good opportunity to get back into public service.
Mhm.
So I took the chance and I went and applied, and luckily my boss hired me, so
Yeah.
here we are.
So what do you like about what you do, graphic design, working with, communications? What do you enjoy about that field?
I think I really enjoy creating something for, especially like the events that we put on for the city, Tacos and Tunes, Ag Fest, and now this America 250 event. Really putting that collateral together and working with the team to do that, and then seeing it be publicized and people getting excited for
Right.
it. Because it's like, okay, this all meant something. It's all accumulating to this one event.
Right. And so, as we talked about before on this show, Yuma loves festivals, loves events. They're pretty much, you can put on your calendar when events are going to be, right?
Right.
And for me, like when I see on like Facebook memories, it'll pop up. And so like what I've seen a lot the last couple of days is like Yuma County Fair. And so like when I've been going like the past like 3 or 4 years, or before that even, it'll pop up, and it's all been like this last week because it's all like the around beginning of April, right, for the Yuma County Fair. But all right, so Christian, let's get to know about you. Same questions. Are you from Yuma? Did you grow up here?
I'm born and raised from Yuma. I'm actually from Somerton, but I've been at the Yuma schools. I've worked in Yuma all my life.
Yeah. And so what schools did you go to here in
Kofa King as well.
Kofa Kings? Were
Go
you
Kings.
both around the same time, or?
Class of '08. I'm showing my age a little bit, but
Okay. Yeah. Were you around the same time?
05.
05. Okay. So maybe when you were like a senior, he might have been a freshman.
Probably, yeah.
If I do the math correctly.
Yeah.
And so you have a background in social work and health. So how did you get into that?
So me and my family, we have a lot of working with people background. My dad used to be a CPS worker. He's now retired. My mom has been a teacher and educator for 25 years. So it's always been in the family. We like working with people. And it's something I wanted to do since high school. I wanted to work with people.
Mhm.
So I decided, you know what, let's get my psychology degree and come back and serve my community. So
Yeah.
I did behavioral health for 5 years, and then I did medical social work for 4 years.
Yeah. So where'd you get your degree from? Remind me.
ASU.
ASU.
Go Sun Devils.
Go Sun Devils.
Yeah.
And so I think where I met you was when you worked for the Yuma Union High School District, YUHSD.
Yes.
So how'd you transition from like social work and health into working for the school district?
So even though I really enjoy working with people, I have a creative side to me. And when I saw that opportunity open, I'm like, you know what? Let's go for it. I think it's going to be a great opportunity because it gives me an opportunity to still work with people,
Mhm.
but be creative at the same time. And I was able to get that job. And yeah, I was there for 4 years. Really enjoyed it. It was a great experience for me.
Yeah.
Gave me a good exposure of what communications is all about. And I learned a lot from there.
So you worked with like in the communication. So you were doing like videos and like photography, I think.
So it's a small team. It's a team of 3 at the time. And pretty much I had to cover not only the district, but I had 4 schools that I would do videos. I would do social media management, graphic design.
Mhm.
I would stream the graduations. So.
Yeah. What schools were those?
So I would stream the KOFA graduation when I was there.
So you went back and you probably recognized some teachers and faculty and staff.
Yes, there was still a teacher that actually was still there. Out of all the teachers, Miss Foley was still there. And
Okay.
It was nice to see her after so many years.
Who is Miss Foley again?
Miss Foley's an English teacher.
Okay. Okay. So she was like your English teacher there?
Yes.
And so obviously I know it's probably good for teachers and faculty and staff when they see someone who has been a student there come back, knows the community, knows, what the vibe is like on campus, right? So it's not like you were an outsider coming in and like having to cover. So what was that like? Just going back and like being like an alumni of COFA and getting to cover it in that way.
My experience as a social worker really helped me with my messaging and how I would promote all the different things that staff and students would do. It was just a pleasure just being able to see all these students do all these amazing things. I mean, last year where there was a student that we covered that he was graduating with a bachelor's before even graduating from high school. So just being able to highlight those things, it's very fulfilling in that way, being a part of the high school district, just seeing what the future generations are doing to be prepared for the future.
Yeah. And so we've also talked on this show about how a lot of people that go to schools here in Yuma County, they may go off to college, they may go to ASU, they may go to U of A, other schools. They don't always come back, but a lot of times they do, and it's usually the people that love their experience here in Yuma County. So for both of you, talk about why you decided to work in this community as opposed to maybe moving to Phoenix or moving to Tucson or somewhere else. Anna, we'll go with you.
I think I like that it's more tight-knit, right? So it's easier to get to know people, especially working in marketing. You get to know different business owners, and that all kind of helps with developing some of the support for the events that we have.
Right. Same question. So what made you decide, because you said you went to ASU, but what made you decide to come back and work as a young professional?
For me, honestly, I enjoyed kind of the tight-knit community, kind of like how Anna was mentioning, but I just love how close everybody is, and I just wanted to give back. I love working with people, and giving back to my community was kind of where I knew I wanted to do from the beginning.
So I don't think I asked you how you got from YUHSD to the City of Yuma. How did that come about?
So kind of similar with when I went to YHSD from social work, the opportunity opened up. It was just something that it was just an evolution of not only was I still creating things and working with people, but I get to represent not only just the staff members, but a whole city. And I thought it was a great opportunity for me to just grow, and it was a great opportunity, and I'm lucky that I got it.
Yeah. So you both have mentioned like a little bit about what you do for your work, but let's talk about like your day-to-day. So Christian, what does your day-to-day look like as the public information officer?
So pretty much I am the go-to person when it comes to anything information of the city. So I work with the media in regards to any questions that they have, if any stories that they're covering. I help directors with different talking points if they need to be on interviews, any stories that are, any activities, any events that are going on. I am working on writing press releases so that way the public is informed. And that's the biggest thing. It's about informing the public. One series that we started recently that I'm really proud of, that I really enjoy, it's called City of Yuma Now, where it's a fun spin of not only are we informing people, but it's a friendly video series where people I do the activity that I'm talking about.
Okay.
It's a very fun activity.
So is that on like social media, like Facebook page or Instagram?
It's on our social media, Facebook and Instagram.
I found that so also for us, like when you do those videos, those, do more engagement, and it allows you to have more fun, because like for us, we do like, news, and we do it, seriously, it's straight news. We don't do opinion is what I'm saying. But when we can do those videos where we get to have fun, or, do shows like this, What's Up Yuma, we get to show like more of our personalities and let the public know about what we do. Anna, same thing. So what does your day-to-day look like as the marketing specialist?
Well, lately it's been helping plan this America 250 event.
Yeah.
With my partner in crime, Kathy Erfer. She's leading the planning, and I'm helping her with it. So that's been taking up the majority of my time lately. Outside of that, it's really developing those graphics for some of the really large city events that we hold.
Yeah. So coming up with like posters that either and we'll show as we get to our second half of our show, we'll come back after the break with talking about the 250 America 250 event. But like you said, so just making those posters that go up. There's physical posters, and there's also like online social media, that kind of thing.
Right. It's everything from social media, billboards, digital graphics for the website, signage for the event. There's a lot that goes into it. And I'm also helping with the logistical parts. So helping Kathy with managing some of the pieces for the artists.
Okay. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll start with talking about America's 250, the local event coming up here in Yuma. So we're going to take a break, and we'll be back on What's Up Yuma Radio.
What's Up Yuma Radio is sponsored in part by Nova Home Loans, serving Yuma County and nearby communities. Nova Home Loans offers residential lending services, including home loans and refinancing. They are also proud supporters of local community efforts and organizations. More information is available at novahomeloansyuma.com.
Clear skies, light breezes, and above normal temperatures remain in Quartzsite, Parker, and Yuma. We expect a sunny day with afternoon highs between 96 and 98 degrees. Winds have become 5 to 10 miles per hour with possible gusts up to 20 miles per hour in Quartzsite. Mostly clear skies this evening with a low around 62 degrees.
I'm Maria Hinojosa. Next time on Latino USA, the Hollywood Latino icon John Leguizamo. I sit down with the actor, comedian, and producer. We talk about his new show, his most unforgettable roles in all the movies, and we ask the question, where are all the Latinos in Hollywood? That's next time on Latino USA.
Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. on KOFA Border Radio 94.7 FM.
For over 55 years, Border Radio KOFA has been a voice for music and culture in the region. We play indie, soul, funk, world beats, and more, plus local stories and live sessions. Tune in live at 94.7 FM, on demand at borderradioaz.org or on the KOFA app and discover your next favorite song.
What's up, Yuma? You're listening to What's Up Yuma Radio. I'm Victor Calderon, and we have Christian and Ana from the City of Yuma. So we want to talk about Yuma Salutes America's 250, a Star Spangled celebration that's coming up on April 18th. So, Ana, if you want to hold up the poster there, we can, for our people watching on the stream on YouTube or Facebook, you can see there. So, yeah, tell us, about this event, and you were mentioning how that's like your main focus right now because, as we mentioned, it is Saturday, April 18th.
Yes.
And so this is a concert. We're going to have, I'm just going to look at the poster, Randy Houser, Parma Lee, and Bobby McClendon. And this is from 3 to 11 at Desert Sun Stadium. So as we know, this is the 250th anniversary of America. And so there's a lot of celebrations, but talk about how this event came to be, like what the planning, what it went into the planning for this event, Christian, if you want.
Yeah, sure. So, of course, kind of like what you mentioned, it's America's 250. It's a big milestone for our nation. So we wanted to go big with this event. We wanted to bring big acts. Randy Houser and Parma Lee are nationally recognized. And then with Bobby McClendon, he's actually local from Yuma.
Okay.
So we wanted to get some big acts for this event, get it all together, and just celebrate. I mean, when do you really get to celebrate 250th birthday?
Yeah.
So
and so as we mentioned, there's plenty of events year round in Yuma, but this is obviously a different event because there's like 4th of July, there's Tacos and Tunes, Midnight at the Oasis. We could go on. And as we talked about, those events that people look forward to year after year, taking their family, taking their significant others. And so Anna, talk about what's going on behind the scenes. Because we are about, 10 days out from this event?
We're 10 days, yep, just about. Next week, so next Saturday is the event. Right now we're just finalizing some logistical items for the bands, as well as finalizing the signage, making sure that our sponsors get the recognition.
Mm-hmm.
And so tying up those ends, but we're really looking forward to Saturday, especially with having such name acts come out to Yuma. You don't really see that here. So hopefully this is a start to something new and getting more people like that down here.
So who had the idea? Was it like the city council, or who came up with the idea to put on this event? And then maybe how did we get from that, hey, we should do something, to now we're talking about, now we're 10 days out from this concert?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Anyone
I'm actually
know?
not sure.
Okay.
I just started 5 months ago, and that history I don't know, but I know it's been a big team effort in regards to getting this done because it is a big event.
So the planning started before you officially joined the city?
Well in advance.
Yeah.
I mean, events like this take about a year or more to be able to get everything, all the logistical parts together and getting this big event going.
And I think that they knew that this celebration was going to be happening nationwide, so they wanted to really honor the celebration by doing something special for Yuma.
Yeah.
And we definitely didn't want it to take away from our 4th of July event. So we decided that April was probably a good time frame, especially with the weather.
Right.
You know, we're already going to be out there for 4th of July.
Sure.
So we wanted to move it away from the 4th.
Yeah, and
keep
it's
it
already hot, but it's
Yeah.
it's less hot than July.
Exactly.
So
So we
I don't have
wanted,
to tell you guys you're from here.
we wanted them
Yeah.
to have a really good time and enjoy the weather while they're out
Yeah.
there.
And so I wanted to mention that, so we have Bobby McClendon, Parmalee, and Randy Hauser. How did do you know how like settled on those acts of were people like throwing out names like let's try to get this person, that person?
Well, I wasn't necessarily privy to those conversations,
Okay.
but I think that we felt that the country music acts would
Sure.
really draw a great crowd, seeing as that there's a lot of country music followers here.
Yeah.
So I feel like they were a pretty big draw,
Okay.
especially with like Parmalee, who been up and coming in the Billboard charts. Same thing with Randy Hauser. He's got
Right.
1 billion streams
Right.
on Spotify. So
I've been talking about to Johnny about how like the Yuma County Fair, like any like community event. Think of like any community event like Somerton or San Luis. They're gonna bring in like either country and English or Mexican country like bandas.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anything else you want to mention about this event, America's 250 Yuma Salutes?
Yeah, I mean, outside of just bringing a big act, we're also going to be having a free kids zone. So for those families that want to enjoy the music, enjoy the weather, enjoy the drone show that we're going to be having, we also have a kids zone for kids to enjoy themselves during the whole event.
So as you mentioned, very family friendly. It's a patriotic event celebrating America's birthday. And doing that in its own separate event, like we said, apart from 4th of July.
Right.
We're not taking away from 4th of July. We're still, even for 4th of July, we're still making a big spectacular. We're going to have the biggest fire show we've had for 4th of July, celebrating the America's 250.
So fireworks, I know that some cities do drone shows. Is it going to be a drone show here?
So for the America's 250, for April 18th, we're going to have a drone show.
Okay.
Yeah. But for 4th of July, we're still going to be doing fireworks.
I know that's the new way that a lot of cities have gone. Like I know Somerton, I think they did the drone show instead of the usual fireworks.
Yes.
And that's good for noise. That's good. That doesn't scare like the dogs or small children.
Right. Yeah.
The dogs don't run off and never to be seen again or later. But yeah. So again, remind our viewers and listeners how they can get more information on this event.
So
website or social.
Sure. They can visit yumaaz.gov/America250 to learn more about our event and see the timelines and see when everybody's performing. And hopefully people come out and really just make it a thing, come out, have food, and just enjoy each other and watch the show.
And I'll hold up the poster again once again there we go. So in the time we have left, let's talk more about upcoming events and news from the city. So I know also on the 18th, earlier in the day, there's the Children's Festival of the Arts.
Yeah.
Tell our listeners about that.
So Children's Festival of the Arts is going to be on April 18th, so it's the same day as America's 250, but it's going to be before. It's going to be from 10 to 3. What's great about this, it's going to be right in front of the Yuma Art Center in downtown Yuma. There's going to be 50 make-and-take art booths. So there's going to be a lot of different activities. There's going to be a foam party. There's going to be a recreation of the White House inside the Yuma Art Center. So the theme, again, is going to be America's 250.
Yeah.
But it's been going on for over 30 years here in Yuma, and it's a great event. I know one of their most popular activities is the Mad Hatter, where they get it's going to be a paper bag, and you get to draw whatever you want, and you just get to wear it around during the whole activity.
Okay.
It's one of the most popular activities.
Are you both going to be at that event?
I won't be there because I will be doing the setup for the
America's 250.
My family's going to be there because I'll be working the America's 250.
I was going to say, I bet it's going to be a long day for anyone working with the city, either this event or both events in some cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so on May 22nd through the 24th, I see there's the Dennis Donnelly Memorial Softball Tournament.
Yeah, there's going to be a softball tournament at the PAC, or the Pacific Avenue Athletic Complex. It's going to be different softball teams that come from around the country to compete and see who's the top dog.
Yeah. And so, I know the PAC is great for having those tournaments, right?
Yes.
And I know they've hosted also, like Arizona Western College has brought in, I don't know if you both knew about that, but now I think 3 different years, they brought in a junior college softball tournament. So that's a good event to have out there because there is that interest in like softball here in Yuma County, parents and athletes themselves. And then I guess the last event here I see is on June 6th. There's Water Safety Day. What's going on there?
So Water Safety Day, ever since 2003, we've had a Greater Yuma Water Safety Alliance, where the purpose for that alliance is to help prevent drownings, because anybody could drown at any time of the year. It's an alliance that has not only the City of Yuma, has Yuma County, has Somerton, Walton, San Luis, different partners that we have to work on this messaging to try to educate people to prevent drownings. But Water Safety Day is just kind of just one day where we can enjoy a free pool session where people can learn about water safety. There'll be free food. It's going to be a great time.
And so so I know I've talked to Carol Smith,
yes,
City Councilwoman, about that. That's one of her passion projects.
Yes.
And we've had her and also other people from her team have come on and said that's a very important event because, like as you said, children can drown, and you don't want them to. I think that they're saying is like anyone can drown, but no one should.
Correct.
And so it's important to have these events where you're just making sure that everyone knows the proper what procedure, what to do. Obviously, to prevent drownings, to like prevent that, whether it be like fencing around the pools, just being observant of kids, like not like just letting the kids be in the pool and there's no adult supervision, right?
Yes.
So that's very important as an event to have. So. Thank you both for the work that you do for the city and your teams, because it's not just obviously you two, but it's obviously maybe a small team, but or maybe not a small team, but it is various people working for like one goal, to support the city, to like put on these great events that everyone looks forward to.
Yes.
So we have a couple minutes. So again, remind our listeners and viewers the website for the City of Yuma, where they can get information on events, on news.
So yeah, in regards to just our general website, it is yumaaz.gov, and that we do have an events tab if you scroll down, either on your phone or on your computer. But if you want to learn more about the America 250 event, it would be yumaaz.gov/America250. There'll be ticket information on there, event details. There'll be different policies, like we do have a clear bag policy in place, so that way just to protect the visitors, the attendees.
Yeah.
But the great thing is that we're also selling clear bags there at the city. Just to give you an idea, the bags cost $10. We're selling them for $10. We're not making any profit. It's just so that way everybody can have the proper bags so they can go enjoy the event.
And just so everyone feels safe, because I know like any sports event you go to, any major concert, they're going to do that. They're going to have like either a no bag rule or a small bag rule or a clear bag rule.
Yeah.
So again, and you mentioned like vendors. Is there anyone you want to highlight, or anyone that's new this year or anything like that?
I'm not.
We have quite a few vendors set up for the show, so there'll be there's going to be food variety for everybody. So food will not be missed.
Yeah.
There's going to be plenty of food there. And
there'll be food, but also beverages and alcoholic beverages and beverages as well.
So whether if you're of age, then you can partake in that as well.
Yeah.
So anything else you want to mention about city news or any other? So we talked about events, but any other city news? Because I know like I was just in San Luis and you were there as well. The city just had a retreat.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't ask the mayor, and maybe you know the answer, maybe you don't. Why San Luis? Because that's something people said like, well, you're City of Yuma. Why are you having the retreat in San Luis? But the point is you want to get out and you want to have a retreat.
So I know for this year, though, I'm not sure about the previous years, but for this year, they did check the new port that they're opening up there in San Luis. So they just wanted to see this new economic opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, they're opening a lot of lanes. And, of course, one of our sister municipalities opening up such a port. The council wanted to see just what was going on there.
Yeah.
So they decided, why not do a visit, but also do our retreat there?
So it's like a field trip because obviously, it's one thing to be in Yuma and talk about the border. And we know what the border is like, but maybe not everyone on the council, is always going down to San Luis, Arizona, or even San Luis, Mexico.
Yeah.
So it's important for them to see.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Well, again, thank you both for being here. And check out Yuma's Salutes America's 250. And that'll be coming up on April 18th. And with that, I'm going to do the legal read. What's Up Yuma Radio is a production of KAWC. We broadcast from the studios in the Matador Activity Center at Arizona Western College in Yuma. We want to thank our engineer, Talon Gonzalez, along with Juan Garcia, Cecilia Holland-Braithwaite, Anthony Ornelas, and Dave Reek. You can find out more about KOFA at borderradioaz.org and on the KOFA app. Stay tuned for KOFA's Midday Music. Tomorrow's program will have guests from the city of San Luis. So we'll have someone from the San Luis Police Department, I think that maybe the chief, and we'll also have someone from Economic Development for the city of San Luis. And so you can listen to the podcast version of our program and check out past episodes anytime at kawc.org/podcast/What's Up Yuma Radio. And if you want to be on the show, we want to have you. We want to tell your story. So reach out to us. Again, What's Up Yuma Radio at gmail.com. You can go to the KAWC website, find past interviews there. And we also are on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you, and we'll be back tomorrow on What's Up Yuma Radio.
What's Up Yuma is sponsored by High Tanks Brewing Company, serving up scratch-made food, craft beers, and experiences at 2 desert locations in Welton. More at hightanks.com.